back because I'm gonna edit this out, and I'm gonna start at the beginning of the first prompt that we did. So I am working with Dall-E 2. I have access to it, and I'm asking it to make me a biblically oriented artwork because hey, this is fun. And when do you ever get a chance to hire an artist to make biblical artwork? Not very often. So I started with Moses as a Muppet, which was pretty epic. Kind of creepy looking puppet there, but this one quite good, quite believable, good coherency. Definitely feeling that. Love the hair on this one. This one totally digging as well, and certainly inspiration if you were going to make a uh, Noah puppet. Now, the next thing I tasked Dall-E to do was I was thinking I wanted the beginning of Genesis, so I wanted divine light separating day from night. And so I was curious what it would come up with. And ultimately, what I got was, well, sunsets, but they're very realistic sunsets. They look pretty photoreal, like it's pretty believable there, and so it's pretty impressive. Not particularly interesting, right? And that is one thing that people have noticed with Dall-E 2 is that if it can't really find stuff, it just kind of creates stuff that looks sort of like stock photography. And just tries to make it look attractive. So it didn't really get the idea of what divine divine power separating light from darkness would look like, which understandably what kind of reference it has. So then I moved on to the Garden of Eden, and I wanted to see a demonic snake inside or with fruit, strange fruit on a tree. So I wanted the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And I got some great results. Look at this. Fantastic. Now, I did notice you can notice that it looks like apples, and I think that's partly because, again, of the software. The software is getting images from all over the internet, and to one extent, I think fruit you just think apple, but I also think because it said snake and fruit, it immediately gives you an apple. It's kind of funny how that works. It's just such a stereotype for the forbidden fruit. So it's kind of funny, but not always. This one was really cool. I love how the fruit itself almost has a snake-like texture, and think that's a really cool idea of what the forbidden fruit might have looked like. I do think it's cool too how it gave me a creepy-looking snake, but I wasn't sure what it would do with demonic snake. If it would give it like silly horns or something like that. But no, it looks like a normal snake. It's just creepy looking snake. Pretty good though. Quite believable. Some great photos. You might want to clean that up a little bit, but I could think this would be totally doable. So the next step was Noah's Ark. Yes, Noah's Ark. So I wanted a photograph of Noah's Ark in the middle of a storm. I wanted it to be this tempest, and I wanted it to be dramatic and cinematic and epic. And I got some good results. This one, Noah's Ark itself looked a little weird in terms of it's got some pixeling going on, but look at that storm. Gorgeous. Certainly you could use it and adjust Noah's Ark if you needed to. This one was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love it. And I love the weirdness of the waves. They almost look like mountains, but I think that's cool because, again, this is a miraculous storm. This should not look like something that natural. So I actually really like that. This one, you have Noah's Ark looking quite distorted, so it's not coming through. This is my absolute favorite. That's a masterpiece. Look at that. You got these waves and the storm, and I love the fact that it creates this opening. It's almost this divine opening in the middle of the storm. Just absolutely amazing. And of course, for any of you watching, feel free to give us some prompts too of things you'd like to see. So the next thing I wanted is I wanted Noah's Ark, and you might have seen a little hint of it. This was the digital version. I wanted a couple on the deck of Noah's Ark in the middle ocean kissing because I wanted the whole like Titanic idea, except Noah's Ark. And it doesn't quite know what to do with this one, partly I think because of the deck concept. This isn't bad. I could certainly see cropping this. We've got a little bit of weirdness going on with the images of the people. I mean, just so much imagination though in the color composition and stuff. It's just be great inspiration, for an artist. This was my favorite though of that. It's distorted in terms of the people a little bit, but with some tweaking you could adjust it, and you could adjust even the bottom of it, and yeah, you got a legit view of Noah's Ark. I did try it as a photograph as well. This one was quite angular. This one, people look a little distorted. This one starts to look more like a regular cruise ship. This one, it struggled. It struggled. But again, this was something it didn't really have photos to go off of or anything like that. So I think valiant effort for you, Dall-E 2. Don't feel too bad about that. So the next step, why don't we try to see what it would do with the Tower of Babel. In order to get the Tower of Babel, I'm putting in the prompt that I want an extremely tall Akkadian tower. Akkadian is a culture similar to that time frame. In the middle of a Middle Eastern desert, impressive, foreboding, powerful, dominant, cinematic, epic. I'm putting in a lot of adjectives to try to direct the feel of the image, right? Because it's going to do that just like you would with stock photography, and it uses stock photography as its thinking, right? When you put in all those adjectives, it can direct the tone of the photograph. So let's see. Okay, not bad. Now, this is not a ziggurat sort of structure that I might have expected, but we've got some realistic looking structures that do look like they're from an older era. Now I'm no expert in ancient Near East, but this definitely doesn't look like modern towers. They look quite different. It is very tall. I wish that it was a little bit wider, though. It ends up looking more like a pillar. So I almost want to say I should do a towering structure. Let's see. And maybe then it'll start to give me more of the levels. I'm really looking for more of a ziggurat. I thought about putting in ziggurat, but I wanted to try to see if I could come up with a more imaginative interpretation of what the Tower of Babel might have looked like. As you just always see it pictured in the exact same way. All right, let's see what this does. Eh, more pretty images, but not really what I'm looking for. But wow, I mean, this looks like something that really could genuinely exist, more or less. It's got a little bit of distortion, but again, if you zoomed out, you wouldn't notice it. I mean, these look like stock photos of something. Not necessarily exactly what I'm looking for, but quite exciting. Okay, let's just ask for a photo of Moses out in Mount Sinai. Now, I'm assuming it's going to give me a quite stereotypical image of what Moses looked like. And it's probably going to be based on paintings, maybe something kind of looking like Charlton Heston, something like that. Obviously, I have no idea what it's going to come up with. It's a little bit of fun. Oh, actually, this is not what I expected at all. So the first thing we get is a sculpture. This is very traditional sort of relief of the traditional image. This is a sculpture, again, very traditional looking. This actually looks like a photograph of Moses. That doesn't look like Mount Sinai. That's the shape of Mount Sinai. He's kind of off to the side, though. I don't love how that's framed, but that's not a bad picture. And I don't see Moses in this picture at all, but it does look like it could be Mount Sinai. That's interesting. I'm going to change this to close up on Moses on Mount Sinai, and I'm going to change this to digital art instead of a photograph because I want to see what happens when we make it into artwork. And I'm going to make it a close up on him so that way we make sure we get his face in here. Ah, okay. Now, we're getting some different results than we might have expected. This isn't just so stereotypically the view of Moses I've already always seen, right? This does looks pretty much like it. This looks a lot tougher. I love the look of this. It almost though looks like they're on snow though, right? It almost looks like there's snow in the background or something like that. And look, yeah, they kind of have they almost all look like they're like bundled up for the winter and stuff. So that's interesting that it kind of went that direction. Because I guess it thinks like climbing a mountain, you have to like dress up, you have to be warm, things like that. Okay, so let's do some paintings. These are some of these paintings I've had requested from some of my friends. So John Young, you requested this. You wanted to see the stilling of the water, and I specifically put in the prompt as stunned men in first century clothing standing on a boat looking in shock at the calmed water. I should say calmed water. Miraculous, spiritual, divine, and then I have a name of an artist that I think does paintings that capture the feel. That would be really, it would be really cool if those artists had painted this, because their artwork is right in the ballpark of this sort of thing. Okay, yeah. So this is where the technology can sometimes lead us astray with some of these quirky faces, right? It's really quite good in many ways, right? But you can see you do get some distortion on the faces at times. Now, there are ways around this. For one, I could go in and I could edit and I could crop out their face and then I could try to get it to re-render the face, and often that can yield a better result. Um, that's not bad. Yeah. This is feeling a little bit more Renaissance-y though than I would have wanted. Not as authentic in terms of the way that I think the people looked or their outfits or things like that. It's a little bit more stereotypical. I do like the fact that they're looking up at the sky. There's a lot of good things going on. It didn't quite nail it. It's not bad though. And certainly if you were a painter, this would be a great place to start from for inspiration, right? This is probably my favorite. It feels a little bit like it was painted in like the 18th century or something, and I wasn't quite looking for it in that way, although I believe that is kind of the time frame of the person. So that was probably that was probably my bad to some extent. I was thinking of their landscapes and not the fact that they might paint people, and then the AI is going to try to make the person look like that era, right? All right, a wild olive branch being grafted onto an olive tree. This is a famous passage of scripture, and this is a really interesting interpretation of it. I really like that. I like this grafting going on. That's pretty cool. Again, this is a literal interpretation. This is, you can see the tape. Somebody is literally grafting an olive branch onto an olive tree. This one's spectacular. Like, this is totally like you could take this out and that's a sermon. That's a sermon image for you, right? That's awesome. This one, it's not as attractive, but it's very believable, right? It looks like you found a stock photo of somebody taking an olive branch and grafting it onto an olive tree. Nobody would think twice about that if you threw that in the middle of a message. And I could maybe see that as a sermon photo. It's just not quite as well constructed as those others. It's amazing. Like, what a weird prompt, right? This one's amazing. Thank you, John Young, for that prompt. I love this. That's a spectacular image. Okay. We're going to look at next, hold on, silhouettes in first century clothing walk by a withered fig tree, because he wanted to see the famous uh, withered fig tree. This is the old joke of God not liking figs, right? Because uh, Jesus commands the fig tree to wither up in front of them. So this is very kind of dark image. I put in George Innes, who's a painter who does dark imagery. So I'm just curious to see what this might look like. It might warp the people in the first century clothing because of the time frame of the artist that I put in. Hopefully not. Okay, it's not exactly what I was looking for. I might need to adjust the artist a little bit, but it's really beautiful. But the silhouettes are too far away, and it's looking again like the artist. It's just trying to make it look like something from that time frame, and that's not exactly what I'm looking for. But if you wanted some inspirational images, like look at that, that's amazing. So I'm gonna ditch the artist, and I'm just gonna say digital art. And I think it'll probably get it more on the nose. It's that whole, it doesn't know how to make first century clothing look like 18th century clothing thing. That's better. This is starting to look more like Tim Burton though. I don't know. Cool images, not what I'm looking for though. Yeah, and I'm not really seeing the withered. That's kind of a withered fig tree, yeah. But it's looking more kind of Henry Selick or something. Okay. This was another idea that John Young had. He wanted the creation of the Bible like from God himself. And so what I decided to do was I said, miraculous wind breathing the Bible into life, stunning, spiritual, beautiful, glorious, award-winning art. I'm just curious what it comes up with. I put in all these adjectives to try to make it as impressive as possible. Who knows? It could really be like super over the top and ridiculous. Um, but we'll see. On the opposite, it didn't know what to do. It's throwing a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to let's get rid of award-winning art. Let's say digital art, and let me get rid of. Let me just say beautiful or impressive, maybe. The Bible book into life. Let's try that. Because I don't want all that time. I think it's just again, it's just looking at those prompts and it's giving me some kind of quirky results. So let's try playing around with it a bit. Oh, okay, this is closer. These are really pretty, but they're not really what I'm looking for. It's amazing though, because you end up with all of these fragments, right? This is something that's going to come from AI generation. Is you're just going to have all of these. It's not what I wanted, but it's something else. Like, look at that. That is not at all what I was really looking for, but it's kind of close in some ways, but it's also really pretty. So it's like, you can use it, you can take it. Like the amount of storage just for all the images that are going to be made and you don't want to part with, it's going to be a problem. Like, look at that. That's beautiful. That has nothing to do with my prompt, but it's a very beautiful image of this beautiful girl reading a book in the middle of a storm. And yeah, I love it. This is amazing too. Look at that. And look at the way it made these ribbons. I'm not feeling, again, it doesn't really match the prompt. The wind is not really creating the Bible. I was thinking of like, the particle dusts of the Bible like coming in some sort of like magical sort of looking way. But that's a beautiful image and just wow. So it's kind of fun. Sometimes the weird prompts can give you a good result. All right, so we're going to do. He asked. John Young asked for the miracle of the man with the withered hand. So what I came up with as an idea for that would be a poor man in torn first century clothing. Wait, hold on, I lost my prompt. Reaching out with a withered hand, and then I have a few extra things: dust particles, miracle, hope, light rays. So the idea is, what I'm looking for is kind of this person who looks kind of like pulling out, and his hand looks all gross, and then there's these beautiful lights coming on. That's what I'm hoping it comes up with. I have no idea what it will. I'm going to go ahead and put in just art. Let's not say digital art. Let's just say art. Who knows what that will do, right? Most people do digital art. I'm just going to say art. This is so much fun. All right. Poor man in first century clothing reaching out with a rigid hand. Dust particles, miracle, hope, light rays, art. And we have... Oh! This is exactly what I wanted! Wow! Wow! That's exactly what I wanted. That's amazing. It's perfect. Wow. That is so cool. That one's really cool too. That's amazing. It has the clothing right, has the hand, it has the wow. That one's not bad either. The hand has some distortion on it. That's also not bad. The hand's a little bit distorted, but yeah, wow. Excellent work. Wow. This one, that's amazing. That is amazing. So good. Okay. The trees of life lining a stream flowing from the throne. So this is a Revelation sort of art. Let's see it. This is going to get kind of abstract. I'm curious what it thinks trees of life looking like. And what it's going to picture the throne, a throne looking, there's a lot of possibilities here on what it might do. So I'm very excited about this. Some of the interesting imagery of the Bible would make for some cool ones. Okay, This is starting to feel, it's a little more generic than I would have liked. It's certainly beautiful. Like I see a paradise, a sort of thing. I'm not seeing a throne here though. No thrones. Beautiful paradise again. Yeah, beautiful paradise again. Look at, I mean, you can't really get upset, right? Because they're gorgeous images, but not seeing that throne. So, well, we'll have to think about that. Okay. Um, we're going to try to do the city of Jerusalem with gold. So I said futuristic Middle Eastern city with golden walls, golden gates, and golden streets. Magnificent, stunning, powerful. And at first, I'm not going to ask what style it is. So if it wants to give me a photo, it'll give me a photo. It'll give me art. Who knows what it's going to give me? I'm not specifically calling it out, but I'm curious to see what it does. Let's see it. Uh, wow. So this is looking quite sci-fi-ish, but beautiful. And you can definitely see it. Definitely, it has this Middle Eastern look to it. Yeah, this is a little distorted, but it's got gold and everything. Oh wow, that's amazing. That looks great. That really, wow, the architecture style. I love this futuristic Middle Eastern. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually legitimately say futuristic Jerusalem with golden walls, golden streets, and I'm going to say uh, looking down the streets of futuristic, and I'm going to say art. So looking down the streets of futuristic Jerusalem with golden walls, golden gates, and golden streets, magnificent, stunning, powerful art. Let's see it. That's that withered hand one. That's gonna be tough to beat. Okay, see now we've lost it. Now we just look like stock photos of Jerusalem. Like I don't know enough about Jerusalem to know how these differ from the real place, but if I didn't know any better, I would just say somebody filtered actual photographs of Jerusalem. So that's cool, but yeah, apparently I blew it up with too much stuff. Okay. Uh, wonder if there's a way I can fix this. Let me get rid of all the adjectives at the end. That might be the problem. So let's see. Looking down the street, because these are the exact vantage points I want. I want to be closer in. I don't want that bird's eye view. So let's see. Looking down the streets of futuristic Jerusalem with golden walls, golden gates, and golden streets art. All right. And what do we got? Okay, closer. That one looks good. This is a very different art style, but I can see it. It's just a little more distorted than I would like. Very abstract, but I'm feeling it. I see Jerusalem, I see gold. This is beautiful, right? And you can definitely see the gold. You can see the gold with the turquoise. Wow. Yeah, definitely can see the gold there too, to some extent. It's beautiful artwork, beautiful art. I mean, it very rarely doesn't give you something that's pretty. All right, what about a Middle Eastern city with city wall with rows of jasper, sapphire, agate, emerald, onyx, turquoise, yes, chrysolith, beryl, topaz, turquoise, jacinth. I obviously don't know my stones. Amethyst stones, because this is again from Revelation where you have all those beautiful minerals. Okay, so we have it. This isn't exactly what I would have pictured in that it's not as beautiful looking as I would have thought, but we definitely have a realistic look at a wall that's covered in gemstones. And this feels very traditional. I was thinking more like a mosaic, like it would be this beautiful mosaic, but it's not wrong, right? It's oh, this is really good with the rose. Yeah. It gives you a sense though of what it might look like. That's pretty cool. All right. What about futuristic Middle Eastern city gates made from pearl? Because it says the gates are made out of pearl. So what does a pearl gate even look like? Well, we're going to find out what a pearl gate might look like because we're asking the computer to show us, and the computer has the capacity to attempt to pull it off. I'm curious. What does a futuristic Middle Eastern city gate made of pearl look like? Whoa. Okay, this isn't exactly what I expected. I don't know if I really get pearl out of that. It's pretty cool looking. That is really cool. I mean, these are beautiful images. Wow. Yeah, not at all what I was expecting. That looks like a bunch of that looks like some sort of composite photographer, and it's like a bunch of milk jugs in the front. Wow. Okay. What about 12 trees with different types of fruit on the river banks of a river with water as clear crystal? Now, counting is not something that Dall-E 2 tends to do very well. So I'm not expecting 12 trees. It's kind of funny, right? Look at all the amazing things it can do, and it can't count. It's weird. It's really weird. Just goes to show you why Terminator is probably false, and we'll be able to overcome AI. Wow, this is. I'm not loving this from an output standpoint. I mean, there's some elements of this that's cool. It's not really my style. This feels kind of sloppy, like something maybe a human would do, like in a few seconds in Photoshop or something. That's not great. This is a little bit better. I'm feeling the trees. Yeah, it's very confused as to how to do the different varieties of fruit and plus water and all of that. So yeah, it's not quite understanding what it is that I'm looking for. All right, so I'm going to do some other Bible stories now. These are also from John Young. So we're going to do a silhouette of three men standing inside a Babylonian fiery furnace, uh, digital art. And I guess I should say in biblical clothing so that it doesn't put them in modern clothing. All right, so we're going to see what this looks like. What does it look like? I hope that it gives me a really stunning image of the fire and the fate. Oh wow. Okay, we got some good ones here. Okay, this is not exactly what I'm looking for. It's not bad. That is beautiful. Okay, that's really cool because usually when you think of the fiery furnace, you think, okay, there's just a bunch of fire and they just throw them in. But this gives you like the sense that maybe there's more depth and more going on in there, and it's just super hot inside. It's an interesting take. It's beautiful art. This looks a little druid or something. It almost looks like there's like a tropical paradise going on. You have to see. I mean, it's amazing art, but it's not quite doing what I'm asking it to do. This is amazing. It's amazing. It looks like a movie poster or something. And again, it really fits the prompt, right? That is just spot on. This is right up there with Withered Hand. Great job, Dall-E. If you're watching, you can feel free. You can give me a biblical prompt that you would like to see as well. We have some more coming up that I'm gonna do, and yeah, feel free. It's amazing. Like all of a sudden, like I said, churches are going to have a lot of opportunity to create artwork because there's not a lot of artists that make a lot of biblical art. For one, it's a niche audience, right? And so now we're going to have the ability, and if anything, it'll speed up the process for other artists. So, wow. Okay, so we're going to do an incredibly hungry Middle Eastern skinned man in biblical clothing begging for a bowl of red lentil stew. Interiors, the ancient tent, it's digital art. So we're trying to do Esau, trying to get the stew from Jacob. So I don't know what age, I didn't specify the age of the man, but usually when you don't, it ends up. He's like, please, please. Oh, that's hilarious. That's not digital art though. That's like a photograph with kind of a distorted face. really funny. It's not what I was looking for. Oh, that's not bad. That's cool. Look at the outfit. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. I don't know how to make it a digital art. Okay, maybe I'll put digital art at the beginning because this would be close if it didn't have the distortion. It's close to what I was looking for. I wasn't quite looking for something so comedic. Maybe I'll get rid of the begging. Asking for a bowl of red. Yeah, because maybe then it will give me that. Look, because what does begging look like to it? So, okay. We're gonna try. We're gonna try again and see if we can make him look a little bit less like Oliver Twist. Although, kind of a cool vibe. Okay. Now, I'm not loving the result. It's weird how it would give you some weird results like this. Like, why is this so blurry and everything? It's not. The composition is pretty good. That composition's pretty good too. Oh, I like that. Okay, this one's really good because I feel like it's almost like he's eaten it and he's realized, wow, what did I do? That was a really bad deal, right? That's really cool, actually. I love that one. Yeah, it feels like bad like filters on Adobe or something. That's kind of disappointing. But this one's totally worth it. This one's totally worth it. That's a good one. That's awesome. Okay. So what about Rebecca and Isaac? So he wanted a picture of Rebecca putting on her veil while Isaac is meditating in the distance. Okay, so I put in beautiful Middle Eastern woman in biblical clothing putting on veil as man in biblical clothing is meditating in a field in the distance, oil matte painting. And we got an error that happens sometimes. It's busy. But yeah, so I put in an oil matte painting. I decided to just go for a clear painting. We can try digital art as well. Uh, that last digital art, though, well, there was that one great example. Okay, I'm seeing Rebecca putting on a veil. The man in the distance we're not quite getting, and this is not exactly the oil matte painting I was looking for style-wise. This is very odd composition there. That's better. That's almost usable. It's a little weird with the hand and stuff. The face is great. There's some distortion there, but not bad. It's kind of creepy. Let's try digital art, but I want to know if I can do something else. I'm gonna do a comma in the distance. A man in biblical is meditating. Let's try that. Because I think what he's looking for is she look well, she's not looking at him because she veils herself and he's like approaching from the background, right? Because she veiled herself before she met him. So let's try that. This is so much fun. Let's see. Whoa. Okay, this went completely in the other direction. We have some pretty images. This one's distorted face, some elements there. That's really beautiful. Doesn't match what I'm looking for, but it's really beautiful. So we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm gonna move on though. Let's try a towering pillar of smoke. Now this could be interesting in terms of how it renders it. Sometimes like a towering pillar of smoke. I don't want it to look too much like just a straight up like pillar, like too exact, right? Um, so the pillar of cloud. Um, I don't want it to look too much just like this cotton ball stuffed pillar, right? I want it to look a little bit more organic than that. Oh, it did it. Wow. Wow. Stunning. That is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. That is beautiful. That's cool because it's almost like the pillar of fire and the pillar of smoke at the same time. Yeah. Wow. I mean, these are all they're more abstract, but they're gorgeous. Like, look at that. Wow. That is just amazing. Okay, I'm curious, what if we don't say a painting? What if we said a photograph? I'm curious, like, how realistic it'll look. Because those are some great results, so I'm confident now, Dall-E 2. You're going to pull this off. It's going to look like something from the Ten Commandments, right? Maybe even better, because it's just a still frame. All right. Eh, okay. So it's compositing. So this looks more. I didn't specify the era, so that doesn't help. But yeah, these look more like composites. Pretty poor, actually. Disappointed, Dall-E. All right, well, let's go back to let's go back to oil paintings. And we're gonna say, oh no, it's to say biblical clothing. Yeah, that doesn't exactly look like biblical clothing. It looks more modern. All right, what about a large crowd of Middle Eastern people following a towering pillar of fire throughout the desert? Now, I didn't specify it should be night. I'm curious if it will just automatically do that so that the fire stands out. Um, but I don't know. You never know anything with this. Oil matte painting. Oh wow. These are amazing. These are absolutely amazing. Now I'm going to put in the comments, or not the comments, in the description for this video, a link to some of the better images, because if you want to use these for your church or something, I have no problem with that. Wow. That's just gorgeous. Look at that. The colors. I love all the colors of the people marching too. Like, I have no idea how accurate that is in terms of what dyes they had available, but it looks beautiful for the painting, right? That's amazing. This might be the best set of four I've gotten so far. They're like all excellent. Okay, so now we're going to look at people in we're going to do Mount Sinai. So we have a large crowd of Middle Eastern people in biblical clothing, cowering in fear at divine thunder and lightning emerging from Mount Sinai. And I specifically said action oil painting because I wanted to have an energy to it. Now, that might make it look a little too abstract. We're going to see. It's amazing. Like, you never know, right? It's going to be amazing or not. Okay, this isn't right on the money, but it's getting there. This is like the energy in this is amazing, right? And that definitely looks like Mount Sinai. It looks like a bunch of people at Mount Sinai. I'm not looking at Thunder Lightning, and it's a little distorted, but it's a beautiful painting. This is another beautiful painting. Yeah, another like these are all really nice. It's just that's closer to what I'm looking for. Maybe I will not make it a large crowd. And I'll just say people. And so that way, I'm going to keep the action oil painting though, because I am liking these results. And I want to see if maybe just having a few people in it, it'll pull it up a little bit closer to the people, maybe be a little bit less busy of an image. There's a lot going on in those images. They're quite pretty, but I'm going to try to see if I can simplify this a bit. Okay. Definitely simpler. I think the other results were better though, because I'm not liking these as much. This is pretty good. Um, okay, see that. I'm not liking the really long hair in that. That doesn't seem very realistic. Again, though, when you start putting in biblical prompts, it starts assuming that nobody had access to any sort of hair products, apparently, or ways to cut your hair or anything like that. Okay, let's look at Noah's Ark. There was a prompt somebody wanted Noah building the ark, and I decided to go a little bit outlandish, and I put in a specific artist who's famous for making these geometric pieces of art that include a lot of rainbow to it. And because Noah we associate with a rainbow, I'm just curious to see how bananas this ends up looking. Because this either could be glorious or this could be just a train wreck. Instead, we get a photography. Wow. So I didn't understand who I was asking for, I'm guessing. I mean, I guess that's Noah there. I don't really think that's Noah's Ark though. It looks a little bit more. It looks like he's standing in front of this like gate from this like retirement community with some weird trophy or something. This is like you roped your nice elderly member of your church in this horrific Noah's Ark pageant or something. It's like a weird elephant with a rainbow or something. These people look pretty good though. They're not too distorted. His hand though, wow. Some fun stuff going on there. I love the look of this is like Noah. It's a pretty cool look, but yeah, no, that's not quite what I'm looking for. All right, let me just do building Noah's Ark, and I'm gonna say digital art. Let's try that. Yeah, I'm not digging this. Okay, I have no idea what's going on above Noah's head. Like, what even is that? He's not allowed to strangle any animals, right? So it's not that. I don't even know what it was. This looks like you caught Noah in a very unfortunate moment. No, yeah, no, 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 that's no. None of that is too great there, Dall-E 2. I'm disappointed there. All right, what about the 15th century BC walls of Jericho collapsing? It's a divine miracle, powerful action oil painting. Now, 15th century is just kind of a guideline. I just wanted to give it a time frame. So what I'm trying to avoid is that I don't want it to look like the walls of Jericho as they look now, right? Because now they're already messed up. Whoa, okay. That is impactful. It's not quite as composed as I would like. That's really busy, but it's kind of this colorful, awesome beauty of God's destruction, I guess. Wow. There's something really compelling about that. I'm really digging that. This has some humans in it and things like that, and a horse for some reason. And I have no idea what's going on here. I guess it's like the smoldering ruins after the fact. Um, I can see it. It's pretty. Again, the composition of these weren't as good. I'm gonna change it though from action oil painting because maybe that's the problem to digital art because we were getting close. We had some good things going on there. We were getting close, and I did say divine miracle, which is probably why it's putting on the lightning because apparently divine miracle means lightning. Oh, wow. Okay, this is really cool. Look at that. Yeah, it's like from the inside. I like the like. Wow, that's cool. Okay, it doesn't quite look like Jericho to me, but with the grass kind of growing on the moss, it looks much more like something in Europe. But I don't know. This, yeah, you have the grass, so that doesn't really. I don't know. I guess there was grass growing there because it was a fertile land, but this looks more like an aqueduct or something. This is pretty cool. Looks like ruins. This is believable. Yeah, I could dig that. Cool. All right, so what about Paul writing from jail? So what I'm doing for that, I'm going to say 50-year-old Jewish man in first century clothing in jail writing onto a scroll, and I'm going to put in digital art. So we should not get a photorealistic image, although as you've noticed, sometimes it just decides to give you photos anyway because it's AI. It has a mind of its own. And see, look at that. This is pretty realistic looking. Um, I have no idea. Not no idea. I have some idea maybe of first century. He's looking pretty disheveled there, long hair, but maybe he would have grown it out in jail. I don't know. But there's a scroll going on. The jail cell looks a little more cozy there than with like that lattice work though. That doesn't look like such a bad place to hang out. That looks a little bit worse. Yeah. Okay. That's probably the best one. Um, but I feel like it's very photographical, and I wish I could get it a little bit more artworky. I don't know if I should just put on digital art or not. And also, I mean, I really don't know what he would have had access to. I just put a scroll because I didn't want him like writing in a book. Um, Maybe if I just say writing, I'm curious what he would do. And let me say that it's a dark and dingy jail. Like I'm looking, it's looking a little bit like a Motel 6 or something. And then let me, instead of saying Jewish, because it's giving me some specific things, it's giving him like peyote and things like that, and I don't think that's how Paul would have worn his hair. So I'm going to say a 50-year-old Middle Eastern man in first century clothing, right? Because I don't want him to look like Norwegian or something, but I think this is quite inaccurate. Okay. Let's see here. Maybe we can get a bit of a more gloomy. What is going on with this? Okay, now we've got like homeless Paul. Yeah, no. What is that outfit? It's like this polyester. Wow. That's so, and now he has a pen. Yeah, see, this is why I put the scroll, because he's just sitting there like a courtroom stenographer. I like how they give him a nice metal, a nice metal trash can in first century BC too. Getting maybe a little bit closer with this one. Uh, this looks like a kennel or something with those bars. That doesn't really, or a chicken coop or something. Yeah. No, no, that wasn't a huge hit there, Dall-E. All right, so what about the vision of Peter with the animals? So I have a miraculous first century great sheet bound at four corners with, and it describes a bunch of unclean animals. So I went ahead and just described some pigs, wolves, horses, eagles, vultures, bugs, and ostriches standing on it. So just a bunch of animals. Oh, okay. So what this gave us is this medieval looking artwork. So rather than the animals actually being on it, the animals are like part of it, and it's almost like this really trippy tablecloth design. Beautiful artwork, but not what I was looking for exactly. But it is a good representation of the vision, right? Some of these animals look a little funky, but in the vision it just says like wild bees, four things. So maybe some of them were distorted too. I don't know. This is really distorted. I'm trying to think of how I can choose. I'm gonna move it to, and I'm gonna get rid of first century because really a sheet is a sheet, right? I don't know. Okay, so now we're gonna say, and I'm gonna get rid of miraculous. I'm gonna say pigs, wolves, horses, eagles, vultures, bugs, and ostriches standing on a great sheet, bound at the four corners. I'll just say a large sheet. I don't know about great. Great might be a word that it's gonna like think grandiose or something. I'm not sure if that's really what. Um, I'm not sure if that's really what the vision was about. Not a Greek expert, so I'm not sure what the word is there. Um, you can call me out. You can comment below. It means this, you dummy. Okay, that's fine. But I'm curious. Pigs, wolves, horses, eagles, vultures, bugs, and ostriches. Yeah, I'm still getting like infographic sort of stuff now. It just doesn't want to have them standing on it. Because they're standing on it, but they're not standing on it, if you know what I mean. Like they're standing on the sheet. It's a little bit closer, but they're not actually standing on it. Maybe I should say standing atop. Standing atop a large sheet bound at the four corners. I'm gonna make this work. You're gonna do it, Dall-E. I want my Acts 10 vision. All right. Pigs, wolves, horses, eagles, vultures, bugs, and ostriches standing atop a large sheet bound at the four corners. No! Okay. I mean, I give up. I mean, we're getting lots of food pyramids. That has a bison on it. I didn't even ask for that. And chickens. So it's just like, what's up with the chickens? I didn't ask for any chickens. Apparently, though, you should, like, I don't know what kind of food pyramid this is. You should eat more rainbow colored chickens or less of them. You should eat a lot of these weird pink swans that are quite obese looking. Yeah. Okay. So I just want to have some fun to kind of wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I could do some more videos like this. And if you have any ideas for things you'd like to see, comment below. I've been having fun. It's just cool because again, who makes biblical art? And also a computer can do it like super fast. Of course, the results vary, but we did get some good results. We got some pretty. We got a couple. We got a few amazing results. But I'm going to do Iron Man reading the Bible comic book art because, we all know that even Iron Man should read the Bible, just like we all should. So let's have some fun and let's look at Iron Man reading the Bible comic book art. Yeah, there we are. That's what we like to see. That one's pretty good. That doesn't look much like Iron Man, but okay, that's better. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's probably my favorite. That's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Um, it's got certain elements that aren't exactly Iron Man, but you get the vibe. Comic book character reading the Bible, because as much as fun as comic books are, the Bible is even better. So anyway, if you had fun, please like, subscribe. We'll do some more of these videos, Flare Church, and like I said, I will put in the description a link. So if you want to download some of these images you saw, I'm cool with that because yeah, we need some of this stuff out there. So if you want to use it in a sermon or something like that, Dall-E does ask that if you use any images from Dall-E that you do disclose that they were made with artificial intelligence. So just keep that aware, especially if it's a photograph, right? They don't want anybody to be using their software to try to mislead anybody. So please indicate somewhere that it was made with artificial intelligence if you so use it. And you can also keep that little um, thumbnail there at the bottom, or that little logo. What is it called? It's not watermark. Thank you. You can keep that little watermark there on the bottom, and that also will indicate to people, because people are going to get used to that watermark. You're going to see that watermark a lot. And AI is going to continue to expand and evolve. It's an amazing tool.